Hello, I'm Alex Noble from Pensions for Purpose, and I'm joined by Karen Shackleton. And we just thought it'd be really helpful to give you a bit of background about how we run the morning coffees and afternoon teas, which you're about to sponsor. Karen.
So just to think about what the purpose is of these events, and to think about that, you have to think about what's the purpose of our platform. We are trying to empower asset owners and their advisors to make informed decisions about ESG, sustainable and impact investing. And these events are absolutely working towards that goal by discussing topics on ESG, sustainable and impact investment in a small group. So our aim is to allow those delegates to become better informed. One point to make is that everybody is at a different point on the learning curve on this agenda. And what we have found is that by running different events on different topics at different levels of knowledge base, we can attract different audiences, and our members can choose which ones are best suited to their existing knowledge base. The important point to make is that this is not a sales pitch. But what it does allow you to do is to develop some one-to-one relationships with people who come to the meetings, which you can then follow up with afterwards. We share the contact details with you of those who have attended the events, and you can then sell to your heart's content if you wish. Now, one thing for you to think about in advance is what sort of audience you want to attract. We can invite, for example, corporate defined benefit plans, local authority pension schemes, defined contribution schemes, master trusts, independent advisors and trustees, consultants, other asset managers, network supporters, and the list goes on. So do have a think about which target groups you would like us to include in our invitations, and we then restrict the invitations to those people. One thing I would say is that it's probably best to have a mixed stakeholder event. So do try and think as broad as possible rather than as narrow as possible, because it's having different stakeholders that leads to a better discussion afterwards. Alex, do you want to talk about the rehearsal specifically?
Yes, thank you, Karen. We've found that it's really important to have a rehearsal before the event, and we try to arrange that about a week ahead. So that gives you enough time to have got slides prepared and what you're going to say pretty much intact. So we have an excellent coach called Dominic Colenso who joins us for the rehearsals, and he has been amazingly helpful both to us as a team and to all our sponsors in terms of fine-tuning the message and getting the message very succinct. So he will be enormously helpful. He will be direct, but he will be enormously helpful, and it will make for a much better event. So it's really important before we get to the rehearsal that you do have your slides. If you're able to send them to us, that would be fantastic. If not, that's fine too. The way it runs is Karen will do an introduction and we'll discuss how you want her to do that at the rehearsal and what the topics are going to be. And then we either have one or two speakers from the sponsor for about 8 minutes each, or one person for 16 minutes. And then we go into questions and answers. And throughout the presentation, we encourage people to put their questions in the chat bar rather than interrupting the flow of the event. And so after half an hour, I bring people in on a one-to-one basis as they've put their questions in the chat bar, and to present their questions to you, the speakers. And we then have a good half an hour of a real roundtable discussion. And we've found over the last 18 months that we've been running these, that we're never short of questions. So don't feel that you've got to have planted questions. There will be plenty of engagement, which is fantastic. And that's the most useful piece to you guys, because you're hearing people that are actually either investing money or advising what their real issues are and what their problems are. So that's absolutely critical. So Karen, what about key messages?
Well, as Alex said, please come with your slides prepared. This is so important. It is a rehearsal. It's not a chat about the event itself. And it might help you to know that Dominic is likely to ask you 3 questions about your slides and about your presentation. So you might want to think about this in advance. So first of all, he'll ask you, what do you want the audience to know after attending the event? What do you want them to feel? and what do you want them to do? So what's the call to action? So know, feel, do. So do have a think about those 3 questions before you come to the rehearsal, because that way you will get the best value out of Dominic. Alex, do you want to wrap up?
That's absolutely right, Karen. And without repeating this once again, but do come prepared. You really will get the most out of it. And I just have to say also, we have had a number of cancellations in the past. If you have to cancel, I'm afraid there will be a charge. It's wasting Dominic's time. It's wasting everybody's time. And we really need to be succinct, pull things together so that we have a fantastic event. So we really look forward to seeing you both at the rehearsal and then at the event a week later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.